On September 17, 2013, a person driving towards Ottawa, northbound on the 460 Memorial Highway at around 12:20 in the afternoon, on a clear, sunny, windy day, observed what they thought was a huge seagull about 200 feet in the air ahead of them. Within seconds, they noticed the wings did not match the initial interpretation they had made, and then they saw outstretched arms, a head, and torso with legs tucked together in a horizontal orientation. Driving towards it at nearly 120 kilometers an hour, they noticed the wings were pure white and very large. They moved up and down rather slowly, doing a nearly 180-degree movement up and down. The witness described it as one of the most beautiful things they'd ever seen. They guessed the full wingspan at 25 to 30 feet. To the witness, the wings appeared too big for its body, and the person wondered how such long wings would be stored when the creature was walking on the ground. The being descended close to the person's car, bringing it into extreme view. The road turned a few times, changing their initial straight-ahead view to an up and to the right line of sight, eventually being directly adjacent to it when it landed about 75 feet from their car. Quote, "So now that I was looking to my right, I could see it coming down to treetop level, still in a horizontal body position, gliding a bit more than flapping its wings like when it was higher. The sun lit up the white feathers, and the wings appeared gray underneath due to the sun and their shadow. The part that still sends chills down my spine was the being's human-like characteristics, yet not being like any human. He was the color of dark, wet clay, face, lips, arms, legs, and all. He was also 12 to 15 feet tall, judging by his height compared to the trees around him. His physical stature would make a 12-foot-tall bodybuilder look like a scrawny pipsqueak. The mass and size of its muscles were beast-like and very powerful looking. I remember it looking over and down towards us on the highway, and the look terrified me." Unquote. According to the witness, he felt inferior in its stare. He sensed a certain amount of disdain, as one would when looking down at ants scurrying around an anthill. Quote, "The best look at his face was when he actually landed. At this point he dropped his body to a vertical orientation and outstretched his wings to land. Curiously, I could see that in the heavy winds he was having some trouble. His legs and arms seemed to be being used as a counterbalance, but the giant wings were catching a lot of wind, making him not completely stable upon final descent, as his limbs were awkwardly jockeying for a balance point, as his wings acted like a massive sail. At this time I could clearly see the inner feathers blowing feverishly in the wind, down-like and soft, while the further to the outside of the wing I looked, the longer, stiffer, and more defined the feathers became. So stiff, longer feathers around the edges and down-like feathers in the inner parts of the wing's undersides. I thought in mythological cartoon-like terms that they were supposed to magically ascend with light and singing, etc. But not the case here, where it was clearly affected by and had to follow the laws of nature, from what I saw." Unquote. The witness noted the winged entity had no facial hair, but wore some type of headdress, gray in color, and had braided or dreaded-looking pigtails coming out from under its hat on either side of its neck, behind the ears, going to the back of its shoulders. They could see that around its neck it wore some type of robe matching its skin in color, and being thin enough, they could see its muscles right through it. They could see its legs, so they gathered the garment was some type of kilt. Quote, "He did not appear friendly or welcoming. The last seconds I could see him was of his ominous glare towards my direction through my back window as I passed at that moment of its touchdown. His nose and upper eye socket ridges cast a black shadow over portions of its clay-colored, warrior-looking face. It looked like he was here for a definite reason, and the fact that we on the road could see him did not seem to bother it at all." Unquote. At that point, the witness lost visual contact due to converging tree lines between it and themselves, just before looking ahead at a roadside reading exit 66 ahead. Seconds after that, they could see the buildings in the south end of Ottawa for the first time. Quote, "This thing literally landed as close to our nation's capital as it could while still having fields with trees block it for cover." Unquote. The person claims that it landed in the field along the north side of the 416 highway west of where Cambridge and Cedarview roads intersect, and south of the river winding west to east. He intended to backtrack but realized that the turn was so far down the road that by the time he got back, the being would most likely have been gone. He also wanted to slam on his brakes and confront it, but he confessed that he was a little frightened in its presence. The witness made a note of the fact that another person, a 40-something-year-old Middle Eastern man with a buzz cut, driving a 90s Buick of burgundy color, also observed the being and was hoping he could contact him. There were at least 15 other cars in close proximity to this being, he added. Quote, "The being was both the most beautiful and most terrifying thing I've ever seen," unquote. The witness admitted that they were not, and still are not, religious and had never believed in the reality of angels, but that they stand by what they saw that day. Quote, "I swear my family to the Most High that my description of and sighting of this giant winged being are true and as accurate as possible," unquote. So what is it? Is it an angel or some type of winged humanoid? If you're religious, most likely you will come down on the side that it was an angel, showing itself. But if you're not religious, and then you have to wonder what it is. What is it? Is it some type of alien entity? Is it some kind of interdimensional entity? And what was it doing here? And on top of that, is it one of these winged entities that people have been describing for centuries? Winged humanoids that Albert Rosales has cataloged, and there's been a number of books written about them, like the Mothman and those type of entities. I guess we have to just wonder.